Interesting. I've come to the conclusion that reviewing headphones is actually quite straightforward. The reason for that is because most of it is subjective. The audio quality, the case, the design, all that stuff is down to my opinion and your opinion. However, if you're a headphone manufacturer, you can get a lot of that stuff wrong, particularly if this is your first ever pair of headphones, which is what the Headphone 1 is to Nothing. Nothing has been around for quite a long time now, but this is their first ever pair of headphones. So I have two very simple questions. The first one is, have they got the basics right? And secondly, should you buy them? And although this video isn't sponsored, we do have some fantastic brand partners who help me keep the lights on in this studio. One of those brand partners is Brain FM, and Brain FM is basically an app that pipes music into your head that can make you more productive. That's not guaranteed, obviously, but what I will say is that for the last 3 years, I've not been able to get work done without Brain FM. It's as simple as that. We've got a great deal for you. Click that link in the description to find out more, and let's get into Headphone 1. Okay, the first thing is, have they got the specs and the pricing right? And on the face of it, I think they have. 40mm custom dynamic drivers tuned by Kef, which I'll come on to later. They support LDAC, SBC and AAC codecs. They've got multi-point Bluetooth connectivity, up to 35 hours of battery life with ANC turned on, 80 hours with it turned off, which is impressive. Fast charging, 5 hours from 5 minutes of charge. On-head detection, so if you take them off, they pause. If you put them back on, they play automatically. IP52 water and dust resistance, which you don't see very often on over-ear headphones, and they cost in the UK £299. We'll put the rest of the pricing down here. That is very punchy pricing, as they say, particularly in 2025 when you can spend well over £300 on a pair of noise-cancelling headphones. The Sony XM6, for instance, are £100 more expensive than these. The AirPods Max, 549 quid. This is very interesting immediately because of that pricing, and they seem to have got the specs spot on. Now we're getting into the meat of this. The design and comfort is where things can start to go very wrong for a pair of headphones. The first thing I want to know from you in the comments is what you think about the design of the Headphone 1. I'm not surprised by this at all because Nothing makes phones that look like that. So for a pair of headphones to come along that look like that from Nothing shouldn't be a surprise, basically. They do this. They put this kind of translucent thing on here. They show some of the components. This is what Nothing does. I like it. I do think it will be quite divisive. I think you will either love it or not love it, but that is like any pair of headphones, really. What I do like, being follically challenged, having no hair, is the fact that the Headphone 1 sit very closely to my head. They've got a very slender profile because of that. In terms of comfort, they are very comfortable. They've got this bang on. They are light. They're not too heavy like certain other headphones, so they don't slip off your head when you do that, or go. They're just very, very comfortable. I've worn them for a long period of time now, over the last 5 or 6 days, and I don't get any fatigue. It's very comfortable. There's no protrusion in here at all. They're very deep cups as well. I know that's important to people. The headband material is nice and soft. That's nice and soft as well. Comfort, they have absolutely nailed it. Design will be divisive, but this is Nothing. This is what they do. The other aspect of design is the case. And they've nearly got it right. I'm such a big case person. I know this, it's very boring for some people and whatever, I don't care. It's very important to me because I carry my headphones in their case and I put it into my backpack and it has to be convenient. It's just about there. It is quite big, but it's very thin. And the reason it's thin is because, as mentioned, the headphones don't have a very thick profile. They don't fold like that, but they do fold like that. And they become very thin, which means you unzip that, you pop them in there, and you're done, basically. And you do have a little pouch for your cables and stuff. What do I feel about this thing? It's just a bit too big. It could be a bit smaller. It's not as bad as the Sony XM5 case, but for the next iteration, I would love to see a slightly smaller case. I think the next ones need to fold like that. It's a small gripe though, because that comfort is so good. And if you like the Nothing aesthetic, then you're gonna love the design. The next thing, and by the way, I love the fact you can do that, is the controls. Because if a headphone manufacturer decides to put touch controls onto its headphones, it can ruin the experience. The good news is, Nothing hasn't done that. Instead, they've given us what I think is the best set of physical controls on a pair of headphones ever. Honestly. The first one is this, which is a kind of roller thing for the volume. Very, very satisfying. You can press that for play and pause as well, and long press to turn on and off active noise cancelling. There's a paddle thing here for skipping backwards and forwards on your tracks. There's a customizable button here, which you can use for things like the essential space, which is something that you get on the Nothing Phone 3A series. I'll link to my review of this at the end of this video, so you can go and check that out. And we have the Bluetooth button hidden away in there, so you don't press it by mistake. So simple. So inventive, like with this kind of rolly thing. Oh, and the power button is down here. You can't accidentally press it. It's a very obvious switch, so you know where it is when you put the headphones on your head. Nothing, you've done it. Although we're now on to the big stuff, audio and noise cancelling. Audio. Now I could sit here and go into frequency responses and all that sort of stuff, but I find that deeply boring, and also I don't need to, because Nothing has made a very smart decision with the Headphone 1, which is to partner with Kef. Now Kef make the speakers over there, they make my subwoofer at home, which I've had for many, many years and don't want to give up. Basically, if you've ever heard Kef gear, you'll know that we're in very, very good hands. The combination of those 40mm drivers, which are bigger than the drivers that you get in the XM6, and Kef tuning means we get a fantastic sounding pair of headphones straight out of the box. And if that isn't quite right for you, if you want a bit more top end or bottom end, or you want to adjust the mids a little bit, you do get an 8-band EQ in the app as well, so they're very customizable, but out of the box they sound fantastic. And that's because Kef has 60 years of experience in audio, which Nothing doesn't have. So that decision to partner with Kef is just very, very smart, and you can tell. Noise cancelling needs 3 things to be good: no hiss, no oppressive feeling, and very good transparency mode, which is when you let the outside world in so you can be aware of your surroundings and hear your voice on telephone calls. The good news is Nothing has smashed all 3. There's no hiss, the oppressive feeling isn't there, but the world goes very, very quiet, and the transparency mode, although it's not as good as AirPods Max, but then Nothing is, it's very impressive. And when it comes to calling quality, let's go and try it.
Okay, here we go. Testing the mic on the Nothing Headphone 1. A little bit of wind noise. Wind is hitting the ear cups. That is sometimes a problem for certain headphones when it comes to taking telephone calls. But let me know in the comments what you think to this. By the way, in terms of the look of these headphones, I forgot to mention earlier that there's a black version as well. That looks very nice. I do like them in black. But this is the call quality. I know this is very important to people, which is why I do these tests for that reason, obviously. But let me know in the comments what you think about this. There's a car coming past. This is a great test. Does the car screw up the audio? She's slowing down a bit. I thought she was about to ask me directions. No, she didn't. Anyway, let me know in the comments what you think. Back to me in the studio.
Oh. They've also got spatial audio with head tracking, and you can customize that button, where is it? The customizable button on here to be a channel hop button in the app, where you can switch between Apple Music and Spotify just by going nice. The last question is, should you buy them? And I think if you like this design, yes, you should. For 300 quid, there's nothing better on the market. The audio quality, the comfort, the ANC, the battery life, they've got everything right that they needed to get right. Yes, the case could be a bit smaller, but that's mainly me that complains about that sort of stuff. But everything else, they've just nailed it. The things they could have got wrong, they haven't got wrong. So it comes down to whether or not you like the look of the Headphone 1. Let me know in the comments what you think. If you're planning on buying these, or if you're not planning on buying them, get involved. And I'm tempted to do a follow-up review of these in a few weeks because I can't stop using them. So if you want more questions answered, get involved in the comments, make sure you hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.